There he is.
Hey, what's up?
I was gonna invite you, but then I was like, oh shit, I don't know if he's coming on as himself or as Restore Clinic.
Hey, can you see me okay? I was
You're a
trying to do
little
this.
a little blurry, but you live in Tennessee, so maybe you guys just got Wi-Fi.
I was actually trying to join in on my computer. The request to join button didn't populate on the computer. Now it does on the phone though. So that was kind of a
Yeah, no, you can't. You can't join on the computer. Forgot to tell you that.
okay. Well, that's a
So
bummer.
I know.
Well, let
Hopefully
me.
one day they'll make it because I think they just like allowed posting from the computer. So
Gotcha. Well, can you see me all right? Can you hear me okay?
yeah, can see you, can hear you. Freezes. Come on. All right, the Wi-Fi froze a bit. You there?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I see you.
Cool, cool. Um, Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time. So this
Yeah.
is like a pretty good amount of people that we might get some more come on, but it fluctuates a bit for the lives. But afterwards, I'll be able to post this as a post and then invite you to collaborate. So we'll have it as a post. But
Right on.
um,
Yeah.
dude, I was just realizing I'm like, oh my God, it's September. Like we're almost at Silverback. I can't believe it's so close. I remember like talking to you guys about this like what, like February,
It's
March or
like
something.
February, March or something like that. Yeah.
It was forever ago. So I want everyone to kind of get to know you a little bit. I'm not sure all my followers know exactly your background and how you majored in exercise science, which will resonate with a lot of my followers because a lot of us are fitness professionals. But
Sure.
that was your first major, right?
Yeah, exercise science. That was my undergraduate, and I trained folks for hell 7, 8 years, and then that's when I decided, go to MP school and I'll kind of tie in a little bit of everything.
So you're a meathead, basically.
I suppose more or less just kind of nerd, really.
Kind of a what? You broke up.
Just kind of like, just more of a nerd than anything, really.
Yeah, you are a nerd, but I've seen your lifting videos and stuff. Like, you pack some size under the shirt. You hide it well.
Yeah, for like 165 pounds. Yeah, I carry.
Well, and then when you became an MP, did you find that like having the background in exercise science was helpful for that from a health standpoint?
Oh, no doubt. Because the prerequisites to become an MP, you require all the same core classes. Hell, even a lot of my undergrad classes were in conjunction with nursing school or athletic training program school. So, I mean, the exercise science, the AMPs, the organic chems, all that, the nutrition, all that, I already had on board. So, I mean, it was a smooth matriculation. Really, I just had to honestly, to get into NP school, I lacked one thing, and that was a statistics class because I already had everything else. So what I did was I just took an online University of Phoenix statistics class, a 3-week class, right before it started, and just knocked it out, and then went straight to MP school.
Dude, I feel like that's what I should have done. Damn. Now I'm like too old. I'd have to go through like everything all over again at like some city school. I don't want to do that. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
And so you own your clinic in Tennessee?
Yeah. So the Restore Clinic is something that actually when I founded it back in May 2019, it
Hmm.
wasn't even like a hormone replacement therapy practice. It wasn't even like TRT. It was all functional medicine. That's what we did. We worked with patients that had like Lyme disease or autoimmune disease, gastrointestinal intolerances, allergies, stuff like that. But the core of those patients, I'd say 90% of them, and that's just a ballpark estimate, they're all females. So they likewise refer their male patients to me. And then it just kind of like evolved into that. And now that's like pretty much what we do. It's our bread and butter.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny because you and I both pretty much deal with only men, and you guys treat predominantly guys, but postmenopausal women or menopausal women.
Case by case. We will work with some women case by case.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
So,
not something we don't like openly advertise or nothing like that though.
all right, no one will know on IG Live then.
Uh,
But you work with some of my clients, and I know that they've been um, very, very happy with the service that you provide
right
because,
on. Awesome.
as you know, like it's so difficult to find practitioners that actually listen to you and understand what you're going through, and you're doing this on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
But like you like provide that extra level of concern and care, which I think is pretty rad because that's rare.
I try. Yeah, I mean, I try.
I
I
try.
figure, like the more time I spend with patients on the front end, the less time they have to be concerned about things that are going on with them, or they won't have as much curiosities, or they won't have as much fear when they enter into the treatment. That's why on the front end, usually our appointments right out the gates, 45 minutes to an hour for the first one. Then after that, because I educate them as much as possible, so that they don't call us or have endless amounts of emails wondering, this. But yeah, we appreciate the referrals. It's very kind of you, and they've not. I'm glad they have good things to say.
Oh yeah, and one of Chad had me on his podcast a couple weeks ago. He was very open talking about his experience with you, and he gave me permission to sit in on the call with you both. So this is not just me saying like this is what people said about nice things. Like I've experienced it and actually sat in and seen Justin talk to or how he talks to patients, and it's not mechanical, it's not robotic, like you're real too, like you're like cool kind of.
I guess I just I try
So
like I want to be the whenever you go to a medical provider, it's always so stiff, it's so cold, it's so impersonal. I want to be the complete opposite of that, and I want people to understand that like you just talk to me like a dude. I'm not like some authoritative figure that it's my way or the highway, or you gotta pretty much kiss my ass to get what you want. No, I don't believe that medicine should be like that. But that's kind of how medicine has evolved to being, is where the provider's always some authoritative figure and it's always their way, and you got to do everything they tell you, everything they say is gold. That's not what we want to foster with our programs. So yeah, I'm glad Chad's having a good experience. He's a good dude, and I appreciate it. Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Yeah. He looks great, man. Dude, he looks freaking jacked. I don't know what the hell you're doing with him, but you're kid. Seriously.
He just sent me an updated photo a couple hours ago, and he's like, yeah, I can't really live here, but I like it, meaning like that level of leanness. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, nobody can live there.
Sure.
But we basically, with a lot of my guys, they come to me under eating, training a lot, which women usually get pegged with, but a lot of guys do that. And a lot of them, turn to stimulants and caffeine and stuff like that because they have just no energy and whatever. So we had to increase his calories at first, which he was not terribly comfortable with, which no guy really is. But they know that they have no other choice. And then getting his thyroid dialed in was key. And I know you and I both were like, how do you not feel horrible, because you're operating at a level that somebody usually would feel really awful? But he's like, no, I feel good. Like he just cruises through the diet phase and everything, and trains hard. He owns a business, he's a dad, like he's pretty amazing. So yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah, dude,
I'm impressed.
He is he is but that's a good point that you mentioned. Like you're saying, like how does some people not feel good, or people are taking excessive caffeine and all that. I think it's like a form of learned helplessness, to where people get accustomed to feeling like shit, so they think that's the way life's supposed to be, when in reality it's actually it's a symptom of something else that's going on. whether it be your shitty lifestyle or some hormonal imbalance or some autoimmune disease process, I think we've been societally accustomed to feeling like shit all the time. And we just make excuses for it and just say, it's part of life. You're supposed to feel like crap. You're 40, you're 45, it's part of life. But it's not necessarily supposed to be like that. If you're healthy and optimized, then yeah, you'll be 40, 45, you'll feel like you are, but you won't feel that level of symptomology, like the brain fog, the fatigue, the lack of sexual performance, those things. Those are all just the symptoms of it. So yeah, I'm glad we're getting him dialed in. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah. But I mean, so many guys feel like that, and I think they accept that as like, oh, like you said, I'm older or whatever. And it doesn't have to be that way. And that's partly why I wanted to create the summit, because partial for what you said, where like medical conferences alone are very stiff and sterile and you know, are just boring. But that's also for medical professionals. And then like fitness conferences, I mean, they're fun, but
They're
like
fun.
they're for fitness professionals. So where does like a normal dude go where, all the questions the guys ask in like the Facebook groups and all of that, yet
Yeah.
it's still they're like infiltrated with so much information. Where can they actually sit down with somebody from every aspect of their health and actually get the answers to what they're trying to seek,
Yeah,
So
you're the first one to do that. It's pretty badass.
when we're going to all be like part of the inaugural, and I hope to do this every year, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But one of the reasons why I'm excited to have you there is because of like the realness that you bring and your background and understanding health and that. But like you're going to actually demystify some of these fears that a lot of guys have going on TRT or what TRT is, because a lot of them think like, oh my God, I'm going to become this aggressive, roid raging person that's on steroids. That's like a big fear with a lot of guys.
Yeah, still is. When in quite the fact, it's actually quite the opposite. I mean, think about it. We think roid rage means that you get on testosterone, you're gonna be a raging asshole. But you know what actually makes someone a raging asshole? Having ED, having low libido, you can't sleep worth a damn, you have no drive, you're tired. Those are things that make you an asshole. But when you get on TRT or HRT, whatever, those improve. And then, how about that? All of a sudden, I'm in a better mood now. So yeah, it definitely quite the opposite. But that's one of the things I'll be talking about, as well as some thyroid stuff, and we'll keep it pretty layman for the average consumer to be able to absorb. Won't be as like medically, but I think it's going to be a great event. Yeah, if only maybe next time get some CMEs involved. That might be something nice. Go for it.
Yeah, you and some others have actually asked about that, so it's still not too late to look into that, so I think I will.
Cool. Right on. Awesome.
But like when guys come into the clinic and then they talk to you and they're like afraid of that, like I know also that they'll say, oh, my wife is afraid I'm gonna turn into an aggressive person. Like how often is it really talking them through exactly what to expect going on TRT? Because I don't think guys really know, because their version of what to expect going on testosterone is what they see in like flex magazines and muscular development. Like they think bodybuilder, and I think it's important to separate what bodybuilding is compared to what like replacement hormones are.
Oh yeah. And I think one of the biggest culprits, one of the biggest antagonists of TRT is things like Reddit. You go in there and you search TRT, the first thing you'll learn is that as a guy, you're gonna all of a sudden have D cups, you're gonna start growing some boobs, you're gonna be angry all the time. You're gonna have acne, you're just gonna be a irritable, horrible human person, and you're also gonna develop sleep apnea and all this other bullshit. So yes, those are some things that I want to talk about, and just really, keep it a very casual conversation with the audience, so that they know, it's not a big deal. You weren't like that when you were 25. Well, maybe you were if you have like, some personality disorder, but testosterone alone is not going to induce those negative consequences that we, commercially believe that testosterone does.
And I don't know, like if you get this too, you probably do, but like a lot of guys in my consults, it's very much a pride thing with them where they want to attack everything they can from a natural standpoint because they feel like they're defeated if they go on TRT. You get that?
So yes, totally. I get what you're saying. A lot of dudes will think that TRT is like, it's cheating. Like they think they're cheating because when they're getting on TRT, they're saying, "Oh, I don't need it." But the fact of the matter is, it's a medical treatment, is what it is. It's not like we're doing anything abusive. No, it'd be no different than you go to your cardiologist because you have high blood pressure and they give you medicine. Oh, so are you cheating the blood pressure? Not necessarily. I mean, if you have a medical development, that's what we do. We treat it accordingly. But yeah, that I find that is one of the barriers to it. Reddit forums, things like that, and a lot of times people don't want to own up to the fact that maybe they do have something going on, and it's a bit of denial going on. Start thinking, I don't sleep good because the kids, or I don't, I can't make muscle, I don't have good energy because my job or something like that. Always point to something else. So that's one of the biggest barriers we also experience. Yeah, I mean, similar background. I mean, you're working with guys in a similar situation too.
And it's interesting because like a lot of people are like, oh, do you get guys that just want to go on testosterone? And I'm like, not really. Like I actually get a lot of guys that aren't sure they need it, but they want to exhaust everything they can possible. And I've spent like 1 or 2 years with guys where they dial in nutrition, dial in their training, sleep and all of that stuff. And their testosterone doesn't budge. And
Sure.
They're like, they're pissed. And I'm like, I could have told you, like, it really doesn't, unless you're a top performing elite athlete where this is your life, you've got people monitoring you all the time. I mean, can guys expect to really achieve any higher levels as they get older when they've kind of reached the point where they're doing all the things they should be if they go on testosterone anyway?
So that's an awesome point that you pull up, is the natural augmentation of testosterone. Obviously, there's not a lot of literature. I haven't really found anything. But from what I've seen from patients, like say if someone comes to me, say if you got a guy, he's cruising at 500-600, I'm like, look, dude, there's a few things about your lifestyle you can tweak to really try to get that up. So say if I got guys like that are borderline, they're marginal, they're walking that line, and they start implementing the lifestyle behaviors, the training, the sleep, the nutrition, the mental health aspect of the game. If they start dialing those in, I've never seen a large excursion from baseline to after they start implementing the lifestyle behaviors. I've seen like 100 points here, 150 there, but dude, it's not like, you read medical literature that says, you get 8 hours of sleep, yada, yada, do all this, do all that, and then you'll augment your testosterone. But I've never seen it go from like 500 to 1,000 or from 300 to 700. What I typically see is like 300 to 400, 300 to 450. And now obviously that's got to take into account that how honest are they being? Are they really actually, moving some weight? Are they actually sleeping 7-8 hours a night? Are they really actually getting high protein volumes? Don't know, but I'll take the word for it. But yeah, to answer your question, I have not seen large excursions in their natural augmentation of testosterone. No. Yeah. If that was the case, dude, testosterone clinics would be gyms. That's what they would be. We'd be gyms. We're like, dude, fuck the needle. Go move that weight. That's what it would be. But we don't see that. That's not what we see. That's why we're here to treat the guys. You prep these dudes for 2-3 years, and you're side by side with them, and then you see that, yeah, man, it's still 300. It confirms that, sometimes it is what it is, man. Sometimes your balls give out. Sometimes your pituitary burns out. Some stuff happens. It's part of aging. That's where we come to treat you and step in.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh shit, I wish I did this fucking sooner. And I'm like, well,
yes.
But the one thing they learn is that you have to do all these things if you go on TRT anyway, because then there's also the population that thinks, well, I'm over 25-30% body fat, testosterone will fix all of that.
No.
Do you get guys like that as well?
Okay, so that was one of the topics on the speech I'll be doing, is that quote unquote testosterone is not a panacea. And I'll keep it brief, but yes, I get patients quite often. I mean, medically they could be a candidate, but from a mental standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, they're not really, because, well, quite frankly, you don't want to get on a medication thinking that the medication is going to do all the work for you, when at the end of the day, you still have to put in the work anyway. Yeah. Merely having testosterone is not going to get you jacked. It's not going to make you more confident. It's not going to solve your dreams. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. If it did, every freaking 18-year-old would be a millionaire that's jacked. I mean, straight up. But we don't see that. So yes, testosterone is not a panacea. It's a bridge to help expedite and augment what you can put into life and what you can get out of life, but it's not going to fix your life, unfortunately.
You know, it's funny because, like, I know for bariatric surgery, you have to obtain a certain weight loss if you're too high in order to get surgery.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
We should like implement something like that for testosterone. Do you do something like that at your clinic?
It depends on the patient. Like, so say if I got someone like that is, they, marginally a candidate, but they don't seem like they want to put in the lifestyle work, I'd kind of rather not take that on, because I would not be doing them a justified service anyway. In fact, I would feel like I'm being kind of deceptive in a sense if I were to put someone on, start beginning treatment, but give them a false hope that it's going to fix their problems. I wouldn't want to treat a patient like that. Instead, I would be like, look, dude, here's things you got to do. There's no point getting on testosterone if you're not going to be living an active life in pursuit of better health. Then this is not the key to that answer, unfortunately. So yeah, sometimes you do have to turn people away. Sometimes you have to just have that convo with them, let them know, look, dude, mentally, you're not the candidate right now. Get your shit together, then let's talk in 6 months. See how we are then.
Have you had guys?
I'm sure you get patients like that.
Have you had guys that you've turned away and then they come back and actually have their shit together?
Not as much as I would like.
Oh, yeah.
Not as
they
much
probably
as I
go
would
somewhere else to somebody that would give it to them.
Yeah, that's what I would presume. But I mean, every now and then you will get the case. Every now and then I'll get a guy, maybe like every few months, that I'll consult with, and I'll be like, look, dude, pump the brakes. Why don't we just redraw your bloods, get your shit together, 3 to 6 months, let's talk. And there's some guys that do, and you may, a lot of times, don't necessarily see large jumps in their testosterone levels, like I was saying, but the fact that they actually tried and their number still hasn't moved, then I'm like, okay, dude, you're a good candidate, because now you've instilled faith in me that you're actually going to utilize this tool to better enhance your life, better enhance your relationship, better enhance your entrepreneurship. So yeah, just like you, not only we're coaches, we're counselors, we're therapists, we're providers too. So I don't want to be just a source of testosterone. I also want to be somebody that can, get some health advice from as well.
And that's a great segue, because there are so many clinics, especially in Florida. They're like every 5 minutes.
Dude, they're everywhere. Yeah.
You'll see. Yeah. How much stock do you put into labs when looking at them? Because so many people will look at their, total T at least, and they'll be like, oh, my testosterone's like 500. My doctor wants me to get it to whatever arbitrary number, or they just obsess over lab numbers.
Okay. So one of the key pieces of advice I tell patients is, don't compare yourself to what some dude online said. Don't do that shit, because there is an immense amount of neuroticism that goes into, like say you get on the TRT forum. Very rarely do people actually talk about the positive. Instead, people focus too much on the negative. It's easy to be negative in life, in most aspects of life. So I tell patients, don't compare yourself to them, because mentally you'll manifest the bullshit that you're reading. Oh, this guy says he's got anxiety because his level is approximately 499 and not 500. Now I've got anxiety. I see shit like that all the time. So I tell people, when you see that blood work, that's an arbitrary number. It's an arbitrary number. You don't identify as that number. That just happens to be the number you're at when you got your blood drawn. If you start identifying with the number, then you start thinking, well, my level is this high and I experienced this, so A equals B. Or, oh, well, look, my estradiol is 60. Now I have a reason to justify what's going on in my life. I'm having a mental breakdown. That's why it's right here. So I tell people, look, these are arbitrary numbers. Don't identify with them. In fact, there's some patients that are a little excessively neurotic. Sometimes I'll just be like, look, dude, let's not draw labs. Let's just tweak your dose. Tell me how you feel in 2 months. Let me know how you're feeling. Don't even worry about the blood work. Screw it. So that's another thing I've started doing, just being like, look, we got your baseline. We took a post, it took a second lab 2-3 months after you got started. Now we know what kind of dose elicits what on paper. But that doesn't mean that, you are that number. Instead, I'll just be like, look, dude, just tweak the dose. Tell me how you feel. I don't want you looking at numbers. I don't care about the number. Who cares? So yes, that's another. I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
You cut out. I said it's like you're grading a test.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. But I always tell them, the number doesn't really matter that much. Some people, like I said, I don't want them identifying with the number, because then you just start creating problems that didn't exist or don't exist.
So if it was like obviously you have to get labs done initially to determine like what type of hypogonadism somebody has, or the cause. But if you had the choice, like beyond that, would you just not have somebody get labs ever again and go based off subjective?
Oh, you mean like, so you're saying hypothetically if I got someone's baseline and they're super neurotic, would I just, forego a lot of the upcoming labs, or like the follow-up labs after you get? Yeah, I've done that with a few guys. Done it with a few guys that are a little excessively neurotic, to put it lightly. But I mean, we all have a certain level of neuroticism in certain things, but I feel like the ones who tend to post the most frequently tend to be the ones that have the most level of neuroticism. Yeah. Because again, there's a certain level of validation in knowing that you have something else to blame it on, and that just happens to be the blood work. So yeah, people like that, I'll be like, yeah, man, don't worry about the blood work. Who cares? We know you're healthy. You're working out. You're eating right. That's all. That's what I'm worried about.
It's easy to go down the rabbit hole. It's like, it used to be WebMD, which would tell you that you're going to die tomorrow. But now we have the forums where, like you said, nothing positive is posted. And so the search bar is probably like a double-edged sword for a lot of guys, because they're like, oh, I'm not alone, but oh shit, I got to worry about all this too, when really it's the provider they just need to talk to. That's all.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like if you're posting like 10 times a day, every single day, get off the damn forum and go hire a professional, go talk to somebody. I mean, seriously, like when it gets to that point, sometimes it's better just to save yourself, the months and months and weeks and months on end of getting pointless, useless, advice, quote unquote advice, when you can just get with a provider, spend an hour with them, and they can actually be like, look, dude, there's nothing going on, you're fine. Or here's what we'll do. You build a game plan. But sometimes, it's easier just to blindly ask the internet versus, take the time to schedule a consultation. But that's where folks like us come into play.
Yeah.
Be glad
yeah. One of my guys, and if he watches this, he'll laugh because we laughed at it. I would never talk about somebody or show photos without asking permission, but he in our consult, he made his own spreadsheet of all his labs of ever in his life, which was more impressive from me making a spreadsheet standpoint than actually like.
It's a lot of work.
Oh my God. And then he graphed his peaks and troughs of his testosterone and his free and total. I was like, this is the most data somebody has ever sent me. And I was like, why do you care so much about this? And he was a finance guy and he liked numbers.
Yeah.
He's like, I just really want to get dialed in. And I was like, okay, why don't we look at this from another perspective? And it was totally like a food thing. He wasn't eating enough, and that's why he felt like,
Yeah.
but like he was dosing his cream
But,
more in the morning and less at night. And I was like, why don't we get like an even dose here before we even look at any of these numbers? And then he went back to his doctor and he's like, yeah, the doctor agreed with you. And I feel better. And now I'm eating more carbs. And I was like, it's so simple. Like, we don't have to obsess over the numbers sometimes. Guys, don't obsess.
imagine that, just imagine that, like, the intangible, which is how you feel, always trumps the blood work. That's probably one of the best things that patients can take away, is that at the end of the day, it's just a number, man. It is. It's just a number, and it doesn't define who you are, or doesn't define how well therapy is going. At the end of the day, it comes down to really symptoms. I mean, if you're feeling confident, you feel mentally, you feel sharper, more vigor for life, you're enjoying life, that, who cares? You can't put that on a spreadsheet. But again, as you say, there's a certain level, sometimes some people just want to have the numbers to validate certain things. But I'm impressed by it. He had a spreadsheet and everything. That's impressive.
It was impressive. And I kind of like, I compare it to this scale where it's like, if you feel lean, if you actually have like, a 4 or a 6 pack, like your abs are showing, you feel good, you step on the scale, and it's 5 pounds heavier than you want it to be, and then it's like your life goes to shit.
Yeah. Again, identifying with numbers.
Yeah. But so I hope that, we can get into the weeds a little bit about that in October. And anything else that you'll be touching on before we wrap up at the summit?
Yeah, so I'll be talking about thyroid and like hypothyroidism, thyroid health and its relationship with men. I'm going to dig more into like the prevalence of hypothyroidism in men, Hashimoto's in men. That's not something that you really ever hear about. When you think Hashimoto's, you think it affects women like 8 to 10 times more than men. But how often do you hear about men being identified with it, or even being diagnosed with it? You don't hear about that very often. I'm getting a lot more guys that have Hashimoto's. Also going to be talking about some of the other myths of TRT. Like, you ain't going to grow boobs, dude. It ain't going to happen. No. I don't even know where that got started. Like the whole gynecomastia and pseudo-gynecomastia. I don't even know where that got started. I'm guessing just bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding,
yeah. Again, they're trying to find a number to blame something else on. That's all it is. Just trying to find a number to blame something on something else. That's all it is. It's a blame game. That's all the whole estradiol numbers bullshit started from. It's just blaming something. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. I'll leave the estradiol alone. I'll let Dr. J take care of that, though. I know. Yeah. I know he's got his speech set up for that. So I think it'll be fun, though. Yeah.
I think all of you will end up touching on it, because even like I was talking to Gil this morning about his talk and everything. Like, I mean, obviously everything you guys talk about complements each other in some way, and you all have your specialties, but you're going to have some of the same resounding stuff that comes up, and that happens to come from the bodybuilding world. But there's actually a lot of people that don't even know that's a thing. Like, they don't know what aromatase is. They don't know why estrogen would be perceived as good or bad. It's just like a thing that they're almost ignorant to. And then there's the guys who are on TRT who hyperfixate on it because they have friends who are making comments about man boobs and gyno, and or their practitioner that they were with previously was fixated on a number for estradiol.
Yeah, so a lot of antiquated practitioners still out there. A lot of antiquated stuff. I mean, or the practitioner joke, well, if you don't get your estrogen to 20, and I don't know where they come to an arbitrary number like 20 or 19 or 27, whatever, they'll tell them that if they don't get it down there, the guy will start menstruating, or the guy's going to start watching Lifetime or start shopping. It's stupid shit. It's not even funny. It's like it just shows a lack of their willingness to learn and stay more up to date with the evidence. But again, hey, I mean, I hate to say it though, guys like Gail and myself and Dave and Dr. J, I mean, we're in a very, very small minority. I'd say like probably 95+% of providers push the AIs. They push the letrozole. They push, anastrozole and all that other bullshit. They push it, but they can't explain why though. So yeah, we're in that small minority that actually stays abreast. Yeah. It's going to be fun though. Yeah.
I'm like actually more excited to learn about bourbon, which I know absolutely nothing about, but you guys all seem to know way more than me. And what I've been told is the guy setting it up for me at the dinner Friday night. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do something special for them," and he starts naming bourbons that I can't even recall, and I'm like, "It could be from CVS," and I would still have no idea. You guys will know, especially you, because you're into that, because that's like a thing in Tennessee, right?
It's more Kentucky, but yeah.
You guys are more whiskey.
Correct. Yeah. We're known for like George Dickel. Obviously Jack Daniels is the big one that we're known for as well. Yeah.
I mean, dude,
I think it's awesome what you're doing.
Hey, to get all of us together like in person too, it's going to be so weird. Like we feel like we've known each other for like a few years, but we've never actually met in person. The only person I've met in person is Gil. That's it.
Yeah, I think you've been to his clinic, his office, haven't you?
Yeah, because he's in New Jersey. Like he and I, as soon as COVID hit, I think that's when I did I notice he was I can't remember, but like we hopped on Zoom right away because he's like, "Hey, I can do telemedicine stuff," and I was in Connecticut at the time, and so we Zoomed for like actually like 2.5 hours or whatever, and I was like, "Bro, I got to visit your clinic," and I ended up never being able to because obviously everything was closed for a while and whatnot. But then when I went back home, I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna be in the area. I'm stopping by," and he gave me the full tour, showed me all the penis pumps. Showed me like, what they use for ED and like where they draw the blood. And then the guy who like helps edit the YouTube stuff. And I was like, this is fucking cool. I want to go visit everyone's clinic and like do like a documentary series on it. That would be fun.
Right on. That'd be awesome. Hey, if you ever come to Tennessee, we can just shoot some guns. Yeah, I mean, that's what we do in Tennessee is shoot guns.
They do that in Florida too, so.
Yeah, that's yeah, anytime you come, just let us know. Yeah, be glad to have you.
I would love to make it there, but I'm excited to have you guys. It's going to be epic. It's going to be fun. If any of you guys are still interested in coming, please let us know. Silverback Summit's going to be October 27th through 29th here in Palm Beach Gardens in Florida, and it's 3 days of practitioners just like Justin and myself talking about all these topics related to the men's health arena, as well as some social activities and some other surprise shit that I have planned because I get to plan it. It's my birthday party and I get to do what I want. So silverbacksummit.com, you guys can still get tickets. Any more info, shoot me a message or shoot Justin a message if you want to ask him more about what he's talking about. But it's all on the website. And I think that's really all I got. How about you?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody there. Yeah.
Awesome. And if people are interested in the Restore Clinic, should they message your IG or go to the website?
Either or works. We're super, super responsive and we're very personal. So yeah, just shoot us a message. We'll be glad to talk to you. And hell, I mean, no pressure. We're definitely a no pressure. We're not like, it's not like a clinic where like you get an appointment, you consult, then they instantly transfer you to finance. It's not like that. No, I just like talking to people. It's low pressure. So yeah.
It is. I can definitely attest to that for the experience that my clients have spoken about having with you. So Justin, thank you so much for taking time today. I really appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. I'll be reposting this and thank you guys who tuned in and listened. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you in Florida.
See you guys.
Bye.